Sorry, dog.
I'm gonna be famous.
I'm gonna be famous. Look at my dog. Hey guys, I know he's ready. He's ready for his close up.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Galactic Explorers with myself and my menagerie of animals. Apparently today, myself, Daniela, and the as always lovely Dallas. Your intergalactic explorers. We welcome to the podcast where we take you on a joyride through earthly, spiritual, or everyday topics explored with a galactic perspective. I can talk today. We were having a little bit of too much fun off camera before we started, as always, because we're actually friends. Oh darn! So welcome to Galactic Explorers. We're the people that actually do this. Our friends. And we'll be your friend too. No, right? But yeah, so Dallas, darling, are you ready to break out the bowl? And let's see
Let's do it
for today. All right, Dallas, pull from the bowl.
Ooh, frequency.
Frequency. Oh, fun. Okay. Well, hopefully our video doesn't get cut out on this one again. Like mine. That was interesting. Hey?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Speaking of frequency. All right. Well, let's get into frequency. All right, so frequency. Speaking of frequency. Frequency. The things that everything is made of, or that how we measure what everything is made of, ultimately. Kind of in a way.
Right. Isn't it like an energetic, right? It's just energy, just the levels of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Of almost, you could, could you almost tie it into like a law of attraction thing?
Well, of course. I mean, the law of attraction, that's the whole idea of what they're trying to share, I think, is the whole of, alter your frequency by dreaming and focusing on what you want to create and want to build and let it all come together that way.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of focusing on what you don't want and just continuing to emanate that frequency and that vibration of what you not having what you want, and then having that come back at you. So I think that's the whole idea of the law of attraction. So yeah, could tie in too. Could get some interesting tips from you from the law of attraction.
Yeah.
From the law of attraction perspective, like we did with money too. Speaking of money, maybe this one's going to be all cut out like money.
Ooh, maybe. It's a big topic though. I mean,
yeah.
Gotta think about it. It's kind of like, it's really our way of being, right? How we talk, how we act, it's just, it's all there.
I mean, and it's everything around us. It's what our body is made of. It's what the pets' bodies are made of. It's, to some degree, it's what our souls are made of, just on a different, it just vibrates at a different frequency. So it doesn't, itself isn't.
Right.
It doesn't have mass, I don't think, but yeah, it's all different frequency. The paintings behind me, the plant in your shot. I mean, cat.
That. The cat.
Oh my God. Whatever. He's face down. He's like.
It's like, I just can't take it right now. Oh my God.
It's like, I'm out. It's like, let me help you guys talk about frequency.
Let me channel it for you.
Let me get a good frequency going for you. A good vibration. Luckily, he doesn't really snore. The dog snores.
Oh, my dog really snores. Talking about frequency. Holy, shaking the house. Yeah.
So frequency, not just for earthquakes and snoring, but also everything that life is made out of. But I think that's an interesting topic too, that maybe this could be a side topic that we talk about in and of itself, and maybe just touch on it now, is the frequency of music.
Oh, definitely.
The fact that we've created music and that allows us to tap into different frequencies of different levels of feeling
Right.
and
Alters our
change how we
moods.
feel, so thereby
Yeah.
changing our frequency.
Mhm.
Or in some cases, I know people to use music in a sense of like, I know people that are really just jokesters and they're very friendly and kind and, but they listen to death metal,
Mhm. Oh yeah. Hell
right?
yeah, I do.
So it's right. So right. So it's almost like they get out that frequency
Yeah.
by exposing themselves to that. Like that's the way they do it, and not it doesn't apply for everybody.
No.
Because
No.
death metal doesn't do that for me. Other
Right.
things do, right?
Yeah.
But not, right? So that's an interesting aside that we may want to explore is the frequency of music and how that is utilized and how it affects us and, kind of observations we have there and ideas we have for people about that. Yeah. So I mean,
Where do you start with this?
where do we start with frequency? I know this might be a long one. Hopefully.
Well, hey, I mean, there's one too. Like we can kind of talk about frequency of, I mean, galactically, right? Frequency we are at to receive messages and
Yep.
to give messages, and
Yep.
even what we're carrying of what kinds of entities come through. And the
Yep.
frequency we at, right? So if we're at that lower vibration, we're going to
Yep.
get those lower vibrational entities where
Right.
that's where
And
they lead us.
even sometimes when you're in that higher vibration, you're going to have those entities come and try you.
Yeah. Oh, I just went blurry.
There you go. Right. Yeah, they're going to come and try you and see if they can't,
Knock you down.
or fool you. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. How can you be on your game? How can you keep your frequency at
Right.
steady higher level? Because you're going to dip. That's just, we're
Right.
human. We're going to go
Mm-hmm.
down and up and down and up. And it's, I think we talked about it the other day. I think we were just chatting of how, like the week we were having, right?
Yep.
Like we were having
Yep.
this
We were
shit
both
of a
having a
week.
shit week. Right. Yeah. And what our frequency was. And if we would have continued along that vein.
Yeah. But we are aware of it because we've
Yeah.
been in that higher frequency and doing our work and ga la la la.
Right.
We caught ourselves and going, okay, what do we changed our frequency, right? We
Right.
did things and changed and used different wording and talked to each other and helped each other out. And
Right. Well, it's about taking that time, I guess, to do that self-assessment or self-assessment with a friend, like a sounding board kind of thing, to figure out really with what you're feeling, like experience what you're feeling and explore and, kind of look at it objectively as you can. And then it's about figuring out if this is really how you want to feel.
yes.
And then at least, like you were saying, in our case, we have a place for comparison where we've done work, we've felt how it feels to feel more connected to our true higher selves, to our guides, to source, to feeling that love on a level across the board towards ourselves, towards like to be more connected to that kind of level of consciousness. And then when we're in that state of not being in there, we go, oh, is that really, do we really want to stay here? Do we really want to keep
Yes.
running this over and over and over in our head?
Mm-hmm.
Like the ego wants us to do, to stay there, right? To keep spinning.
Yeah. Stay in that pattern. Stay in that holding pattern.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's about figuring out if that's really how you want to feel. And if you really do want to, feel sorry for yourself for like another 5 minutes more, well, put your timer on, right? Because we've done it. We've all done it. We're like, you know what? I don't think I'm quite done being upset about this. Right?
Put your death metal on and freaking rage out.
That's right. Exactly.
That's what I do.
Speaking of which, yeah.
I put my metal on.
Yep.
And I go, okay, when this song is over, I am done. And I get it out. I scream, I holler.
Yep. I get my super gangster rap on. Yep. That's what I do.
I hit, I go crazy in a safe environment.
Yep.
And then when the song's over, I'm done. I put it away, put on some nice relaxing music or something
Right.
that's uplifting and just go dance it out, or and then like change that vibration again. Got that anger out, and now
Right.
I'm moving and
Yeah,
being
you
softer
expressed
with
it,
it.
you felt it, you went through it, and
Yeah,
then you released it. You found a way to release it safely, physically out of the body so it doesn't stick around,
right.
fester in your energy field, and then create problems in your actual physical body.
Yes.
More problems
Yeah.
about holding on to resentments or grudges or whatever.
Right. Whatever comes up.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing what the music can
Yeah.
do
The
for
music
you.
really does help.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just dance it out too. It's like I don't even have to be angry about it. Like sometimes I just have to dance it out.
Yeah.
Belly dance thing, like break a sweat. So you like start running endorphins through your system. And at least for me, while the music is going, because a lot of the stuff I dance to is more belly dance kind of inclined, when I'm in that place too, sometimes I use it for that. And it kind of puts me in a place, because there's not really a lot of times a lot of singing, or it's all instrumental, more or less. It allows me to go to a mental place where I can think and
Mm-hmm.
reflect about how I feel, where I'm feeling it, where I'm feeling it in my body, where am I holding it.
Right. Yeah.
And then while I'm there in the moment, I can actually move that part of my body such that it releases it out of the system. And I've started really being able to utilize that as a tool, which I haven't really in the past used it as much as I could have been. It's one of those things where it's like you do it for a while and then some shit happens and then you forget about using your tools and taking care of yourself, which
Yeah.
happens to everybody.
Of course.
But I think that's all about what we're talking about, is picking some of those tools back up that make you feel good and help you release tension and stress without hurting yourself or hurting other people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it out of your system and then being able to put your thought on something else, put your feelings on something else,
Right.
and change how you feel. And that's altering that frequency, which could lead into how you could utilize things like law of attraction, for instance.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, sure. When you're in that higher, like you feel good, and then you're like, oh, I can create a dance, and this could be a routine that I do daily to, or so often to like help me just uplift myself,
Right.
working out.
Right.
I really like to work out sometimes in the morning or doing yoga or whatever. You get your endorphins going, you're moving your body, you're moving the energy and frequency, and you're going with it. There's a
Mm-hmm.
flow there. I think that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a flow of movement that
Yeah.
our body and energy loves to be in. Then it's kind of also going in with the flow of the universal energy,
Yeah.
because that's a high vibration
Because
and
we're
that's
we're
always
one
just
part, we're
flowing.
one with that technically. So we're
Yeah,
part of that.
absolutely.
We come from that. So when we can tap into that,
Yes.
we're just being more a part of what we're a part of, instead of participating so much in the game of separation.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Love
So,
it.
right? But like the thought that actually keeps coming to mind, and we're going to take like a hard left turn, right? Because the thought that keeps coming, this is my curl. My curl keeps like, whoop.
It just wants to stick today.
It wants to, yeah, I've actually got two. I'm going to rock it
Yes.
for you guys. There you go.
Good. It's good. I like it.
See, I'm being real. Super real with you guys. See, sometimes they come up here. I have these ones.
Can I get those from you?
Do you think maybe there's a little bit of a collective in there? just
Yeah.
make itself known.
Meow.
Um,
Your antennas are coming
but,
out.
right. But the point that that keeps coming up in my mind as we're talking about this is to bring up the point of the idea of scientific frequency,
Ooh.
or the a little bit of the explanation of frequency in scientific terms, because I have done quite a bit of research and looked into other people's work that they've done
Mm-hmm.
on measuring different, what you would call emotions or frequencies or vibrations, because we in the spiritual and ufology community and metaphysic community like throw around words like vibration and frequency and like, I mean, we just throw them around.
Yes, we do.
For
Yeah.
most people, they don't really realize, like, they don't have an understanding of what those people in the spiritual communities may actually mean by vibration and frequency. Because there is actually now scientifically a tangible explanation, more or less, for explaining what it means when we use the words vibration and frequency.
Okay.
Which is cool. Because now
Yeah.
there's science. What I say, that's like my little thing is like, now there's science to back the magic,
Right.
which is always cool. I've been one of those people that loves knowing how the magic trick is done.
Yeah.
It doesn't spoil it for me at all.
Right.
It actually makes it more magical, because then when I'm watching the person and I know how it's done and they still fool me, like, okay, that's fucking magic right there. I know how it's done, but still, yet it amazes me.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, the idea of the science behind the spiritual is really kind of that parallel for me when it comes to this stuff about doing your inner work and raising the consciousness level of yourself and aiding that growth in humanity, and all of that is the same. I like to find the science behind it. So how do they do the magic trick?
Right.
How do you do it? So I can do it, or I can
Yeah.
enjoy it, right? That's a huge, big topic in and of itself, the science behind it. But there has been so much research, and I can drop some links in the comments, or in the description, I should say, to some people's work that I've looked into. But there's an astonishing amount of work that has been done that just hasn't really been front page news. It hasn't necessarily been shelved or like silenced, but it hasn't been put in front of people, so they don't know it really exists. But things, for instance, like, you're familiar with the shape of the Merkabah, which is the Star of David?
Yes.
Right?
Why is it sounding familiar? Yes.
Yeah, it's the 3D Star of David.
Yeah.
Right? Merkabah, that kind of thing. So that is, and they also have it in Buddhism, and a lot of different
I know what you're talking
belief
about.
systems have it, or some version of it. And they have long believed that to represent a frequency, a shape. Because like a square is a shape of frequency, a circle is a shape of frequency, triangle, all of these things.
Right.
There's actually really some very interesting little things that have been done, little and big things that have been done either with water or with sand or both, that they put, for instance, sand in a glass and vibrate a certain sound frequency at it. And it makes different mandalas.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Right? So,
yeah.
and those shapes are like square, triangle, the Merkabah.
Yeah.
Right? Things like that. So it is a representation of frequency, of a vibration, of sound.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Because when you bring in, people always wonder, it's like, why do you need to worry about what you say? Everybody's got free speech. Why do you worry about what you say? And it's like, why shouldn't I discipline myself, or why does it matter what you say, what you think? Like, well, as I'm talking right now, my voice box is creating a certain vibration that is coming and shaped by my mouth.
Yeah.
In the imprint, in the field of energy that's like they've talked about is like a liquid almost that we live in. which of course we don't know is a liquid because, well, guess what? We're in it. It's like, does a fish know that they're in liquid until they're out of it? No.
Ew, yeah.
I guess this one's gonna blow. Yeah, we're gonna blow everyone's minds today with this one. Right. So my voice is actually creating wave patterns and ripple patterns in the field, which of course is reaching into the energetic field around me, into my auric field. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Creating ripples in everything around me.
Oh, definitely.
In the dog, in the plant, in the cat.
Yeah.
Everything.
Would you ever do those experiments where you took like 2 plants and you talked one and you gave it love? And
I never did it. I've never done it, but I know about them so much, and they're one of my favorite things to share with people.
Yeah.
For that reason.
I've done it. It's
the ice
crazy.
one. I've always wanted to do the ice experiment where they do the same thing, but I want to, I'd need a microscope to do it. But no, it's where you do the same thing, where you have water that you speak really shitty things to, and water you speak really nice things to, and then you freeze it and you see what kind of crystals it makes.
Ooh, interesting. I've never heard
and
that
the one that you talk really shitty to is very disjointed, not geometric. It's all broken up and shards and everything. Like, it looks really fucked up. And then the ones that you speak nice things to are like perfect little ice crystals and snowflakes and geometry.
Easy. Words are so strong.
Frequency,
really
folks. Frequency is important.
Yeah.
So that's a form of frequency. So when people in the spiritual community talk about, change your frequency and your vibration, man, like all us fucking stoner hippie leftover kids sometimes, right? Carry on the torch. Right. Sorry. I just had to. It's like inadvertently, unintentionally, but kind of, yeah. So, but that's what they mean, is a lot of times is we're talking about the frequency, the pattern in that you are putting out and emanating into the field about yourself, about other things.
Right. Well, and then, so yesterday we went to the beach.
Yeah.
Family parks up next to us. And immediately it was just, they're fighting with each other. They're dropping F-bombs. They're, it was like, it was kind of intense. And my son, who's 7, was like,
what's going on here?
Did you hear the word? Did you hear that word they said? I said, don't, just because you hear it doesn't mean you say it. And then like whatever. But then I started I got kind of angry. I'm angry. I started getting angry of these people, don't they see there's little kids around? They can't be talking like that, or that's so disrespectful of how they're talking to each other. I started getting angry at it. And I go, wait, I'm not angry. They're angry. I'm carrying it. I'm starting to get it. And I was like,
it's starting to seep its way into your field there. Yeah, interesting.
Nope. Right, so I turned myself and I go, okay, I just ignored it, and I just ignored them. And then I had a great time. And they were kind of just a blurb after that, and they were still having their issues, but we were having our own good time, and I wasn't going to let it change what we were doing or, and ruin our own experience. So it's there. It's that vibration, and I was aware of it, and I go, oh, yeah, nope, okay, I'm going to change it. I'm going to have a good time.
Right.
So
that is a perfect real world example of what doing your work looks like, by the way. Anybody who's curious, because I see all these questions all the time, and I get all these questions all the time. It's like, so what does doing your inner work actually look like in a real-time scenario? That.
Right there.
Right there. That's it.
Something simple. It doesn't have to be the world is ending.
Right.
It's just you're at a park or something. Yeah. You're
making that choice in the moment when something like that arises, and you notice yourself starting to get influenced by what's going on around you, instead of staying true to what your own inner center and core really is. And then catching it and going, oh, nope, don't have to do that. That is what the inner work looks like. That's it.
A good one, too, is driving in traffic.
Yep.
Because think about maybe
the inner work can be done driving in traffic.
Think about what you listen to.
It's a great place to exercise and practice. Oh, God, yes.
Music. Think about the people around you, and everybody's already angry because they got to be in traffic or they're late. or that, right? So you get in your mode, and then you're picking up on everybody else's mode, and then what you're listening to, like that frequency overload right there, man.
Yep.
You can change that by maybe just listening to better music, maybe taking your time and enjoying your ride. And even though maybe you're sitting in your car for a long time, maybe you're listening to a book or something. You know, you can alter that frequency.
Yep.
And
it's literally kind of like changing gears at that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And speaking of the car analogy, right? I mean, it's about when you start to run hot and you start to rev up and you're like, oh wait, do I really want to be going? Do I want to be like that? And you go, oh no, just change gears. Oh, okay, cool. I could just like let my foot off the gas a little bit and just lean back and listen to whatever music this is, or podcast, or or audiobook, or anything like that. Yeah, just to change your focus and consciously change gears, and that's it. And that's you working with vibration, you working with the fundamental building blocks of what you are, of what the reality is that we live in. And that's as easy as it can be. It's hard sometimes to make those decisions and those choices in certain moments. Absolutely can be hard, but that's all it is, which is a lot simpler than a lot of people will have you believe. As some kind of military planes go over my house. I live next to a military base. Probably a real great idea. Well, not right next to, but yeah, they go over the house. So yeah, that's an aspect of frequency right there, is how you can use it and play with it. And the fact that historically people have been trying to portray this idea of uniting yourself with a particular kind of frequency to reach that enlightened state, to reach that change in consciousness. And now we're just coming around scientifically to being able to prove, like with the plant tests and the water tests and the sonic tests that make the Merkabahs, that make the mandalas, that there is all of this frequency and all of this vibrational stuff all around us all the time. And we're actively creating it. Which is really interesting. There actually is one thing too that I want to mention, speaking of the Merkabah, is that speaking about the whole idea of the holographic reality and vibration. So it's essentially the idea that we're on a holodeck right now. And everything is based off of and built off of a seed of a frequency, a tone, that everything else ultimately is built off of, which leads back to, interestingly, the sound of Om.
Yeah.
Right? Ooh. So there's that. The other side of that is that some scientists, these two gentlemen, I forget their names, but if I remember, I'll drop links in the description again, if I can find them. But they did mathematical research into breaking down this holographic aspect of the field, the energetic field that we live in. They found when they broke it down to its smallest size that they could do, which essentially is breaking everything down to the smallest vibrational aspect. They found that it took the shape, the seed of reality took the shape at its smallest at 1/4 of a Merkabah.
Interesting.
So if you fleshed it out, it would actually be like the bottom and side of that double star shape. And that is supposedly what they've done mathematically, is the seed of the vibration that all the reality that we are experiencing is made off of, built out of, replicated over again and again and again, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
And that's why we can interact with said vibration, ideally, I mean, or allegedly, right? Allegedly, um, is because we are made out of that vibration.
Right.
So if we're made of
Course,
it,
yeah.
it exists, it's there. Why can't we interact with it? And the whole idea is that we've been slowly over time led to the idea that you can't interact with any of that kind of stuff. It doesn't exist.
Right.
You're not part of anything like that. But in reality, that's all that everything is ever made of.
Right.
So why not be able to start to utilize your consciousness, which again is made out of that, potentially,
Mm-hmm.
to direct and focus on certain aspects of the flow that you want to accentuate or experience. And that is the law of attraction.
It's so fun.
Boom! Done!
But you know what comes to my mind when you start talking about like that?
That's the really deep shit.
So you want to get into some conspiracy stuff? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, I could get into some conspiracy stuff. I mean,
right? Like the
hold on.
conditioning.
How much time do we have? Oh, I don't know.
Not today.
I don't know if we have time to get into some conspiracy stuff. I can talk. Wow.
Well, we could too. I could say we are conditioned to believe that. Yes, from right, like we've talked about before, religion, politics,
right,
way of life, parenting, family line, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Where we get into that, you know, frequency of
right
pettiness.
All of that limiting programming.
Yeah. Oh, very limiting, where we are so unlimited. We are all so tapped in.
Right.
That,
and we're taught to actually be self-limiting, which is where the ego gets latched in.
Yeah.
So we're actually taught to self-limit for safety.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's the ego's job in our physical body to keep us safe, aka from bumping into walls and getting eaten by shit.
Right.
That's literally the ego's original function.
Fight or flight.
Like have a consciousness in the body that would keep us from bonking into stuff and getting eaten by things. That has been hijacked, in my personal opinion. And slowly conditioned over time.
Yeah.
To be self-defeating and self-policing and to police one another.
Oh yeah, big time.
Without any of without any other input on anybody else's part. And it's self-replicating. So we teach it to our kids.
Oh
our parents taught it to us and they didn't know.
No, it's not something that it's talked about, or it's not even a thing that I'll say muggles.
Right. Well, I mean, if you know the work of Louise Hay, for instance, like if you know the work of Louise Hay, that's essentially what she's talking about. All these beliefs definitely. And Abraham Hicks and all these things, it's like all these beliefs that got passed down, that's the programming. Like what you believe about money, what you believe about what you deserve and what you're capable of and what you could be good at and all of these things, like even where you come from, like what you really are.
Yeah.
All of that is programming. Is those beliefs. Like, so when you hear again, metaphysical spiritual communities say, get rid of your programming. That's what they're talking about. When they say, get rid of your beliefs, it's like, that's the process that they're talking about. Yeah. That changes your frequency and your vibration because you're not holding on to those thought patterns, which are of a particular frequency and vibration.
Right. Yeah. It's that simple.
It's crazy how it all kind of comes back around though, isn't it? Like it's involved in everything. Ultimately.
Oh yeah. Everything. I mean, when you go out into nature, right? You go out to nature, you're sitting there. I know my vibration changes. It has to change. Like,
oh God, yeah. Immediately.
I'm absorbed. Or water, or wherever you feel connected. That's.
Oh yeah. I love water. Water's always been my thing.
Mine too. Yeah, like yesterday, I went out further into the lake, kind of like in the middle where it's really, really deep. And I took my daughter out there and I was like, she's like, wow, I've never been out this far before. you know,
Aw.
and it was so different. And she was like, I feel like I'm flying. I feel, you know, like it changes. I don't know. So it's water.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Try not to
I
go
get
off
it.
topic.
And I'm sure our listeners get it too. Like when you go out to a special place in nature that
Just it fills you, it calms you, it
yeah.
soothes your soul. And then that's changing your vibration.
Yep.
It's changing your thought patterns. It's changing
Right.
your self
Right.
awareness.
Not to mention getting out there like you were in actually physical skin touching the water and the elements and grounding, but
Yeah.
putting your feet on the ground bare. Because interestingly enough, the ions that the Earth's surface gives off naturally, all the plants and all the things, like everything gives off this like ionic field
No.
that helps keep us calm and like relaxed and out of fight or flight mode. That is blocked by the rubber in our shoes. It's been
Oh
proven
yeah,
like
definitely.
all over. So whenever you can get out and put your feet just even in your backyard, you are giving yourself access to a biological interchange with the earth
Mm-hmm.
that's measurable over and over again. That is also just by that changing your frequency.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the stuff you were talking about in addition to.
Yeah. Grounding. I think grounding with earth is a huge one
Mm-hmm.
because
It's so simple.
it's so
Take your shoes
simple.
off.
And that's what it's like. This is what the earth's really here, and that we're here connecting to connect. You know, she's helping us to balance this physical body that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
that we can really go outward so far and wide and get all skewed and
Yeah.
when we ground into where we're placed at in our
Yeah.
physical body
Yeah. Because the
onto
body is of the
another
earth. Yeah. It's like made of
earth,
the same stuff. Uh-huh.
right?
So,
It's that connection. It's that
mhm.
it's just a connection. We're connected
Absolutely.
because we're all freaking one in one way or another.
Right. I think that may be the main message of maybe today's podcast with frequency is that because everything is made out of the same stuff, to then consciously, of your own free will, of your own consciousness, remake or reunify or reconnect with, make a connection with what that actually is that we're of.
Yeah.
Instead of being distracted as much of the time and having our focus on these outside things in the sense of the drama going on at work, you know, the drama with the family, what's going on, even to some degree, what's going on socially around us, even to
Yeah.
get so
Oh,
tied up in
definitely.
emotionally in that. All of these things like political systems, religious beliefs, who's right and who's wrong, whose God is better, like, um, to not be so connected to that, which is all about separation and division and who's right and who's wrong and who's on what side and who's on the other side. And instead, connecting into the vibration of creation,
Yeah.
which the world and the earth is a part of, which our bodies are a part of, which
Yeah.
our higher selves are a part of.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
say is the vibration of love. It's
Mm-hmm.
both like a frequency that people identify with when they feel the feeling of love.
Do you remember there's a chart? I can't remember what it's called. It's like the frequency chart where it
Yeah.
shows you the
Mhm.
frequency of where
Yep.
everything is at and where
Yep.
you're
It's
at.
like anger and pride and betrayal and sad, like all of those things. And there's different, number, actual like hertz
Yeah,
frequencies
I'm
that
trying to, I
those
can't,
things
there's a
are
name
at.
for it and I
Yeah,
can't, I was
absolutely.
just looking at it the other day because I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I totally forgot about this.
Yeah.
So it's funny, I
Yeah.
looked at it, but maybe we could draw a link so that they could look. Because
Yeah.
they're like, and it has money, it has a lot of different things on
Yeah.
there. But it just shows you that vibration of
Mhm.
where you can be at.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's an interesting tool to use because you can kind of play with it almost where it's like, so how do you feel when you think about and feel what it feels like when you're in love with somebody? So if you think about somebody that you really care about, or even one of your pets that you really care about,
Mm-hmm.
how does that feel? What is that like? You are now putting off a particular vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
And you can play with that and then go, okay, so what does it feel like when I'm pissed off at somebody? And then bring yourself down into that and feel that low.
Yeah.
And go, oh, okay. So then now back to love. You go, oh yeah. Oh shit. There's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I, so why continue to stay down here?
Yeah.
And then you can start teaching yourself to recognize the difference between those feelings, which feeling in this sense equate to vibration or frequency.
Of course. It alters our moods.
Yeah.
Our emotions.
Yeah.
Our body.
Right. So if you can catch it,
yeah,
then that's the work, and that's you changing your vibration. That's you utilizing frequency and your consciousness to interact with frequency.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
It's pretty amazing.
I know. But the amount of things that it can affect ultimately on a large scale is insane to think about.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
There our individual world, our world as a whole.
Yep.
And definitely the universe in some way,
Yeah. So frequency, really big topic.
It is.
Yeah. And we've only really touched on a few aspects of it, and a couple we'll probably bring back as their own independent side talks.
Yeah. I can put it back in and put some more notes on it.
Right. But we'd love to hear what you guys think about frequency, all our listeners out there. What do you understand it to be? If you have any really cool links that are scientific that talk about frequency, vibration, any of that stuff we talked about today, we'd love to get links and be able to check them out and share them so we can get this kind of information out to as many people as possible and have them put their eyeballs on it and check it out and start to educate ourselves and one another in what's really possible, which is kind of all of what Galactic Explorers is about, is to be able to share this kind of stuff and make more and more people aware of the mainstream applications of a lot of this metaphysical, spiritual stuff that people think is so complicated and so far out of reach and so mystical and so, all the things. So love to hear your comments. Like, subscribe, continue to follow us, watch us. Check us out on our Facebook pages and everything. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you've got any topics for us, anything, throw it at us. We'd love to hear from you. Bring it. That's right. Bring it to us. Thank you for joining us, Dallas and I, again, for another episode of Galactic Explorers, and we will see you next time. Can't believe it's already, that was quick.
It's too fast.